Our second story is called Miss Giggles and the New Job, written by the same artists. Can you guess what Miss Giggles does every morning when she wakes up? Yes, that's right, she giggles. It's the same story all day, every day. The tiniest things makes her giggle and giggle. Some people love Miss Giggles giggling, but some don't. Like Miss Greedy, for instance. I'm sure you can imagine what Miss Giggles did when she saw Miss Greedy eating an enormous cake. She giggled, of course. Miss Greedy thought that Miss Giggles was giggling at her, but in fact, Miss Giggles was just giggling about her new job. On this particular day, Miss Giggles was not even happier than usual, because she was starting a new job as a waitress in a very smart restaurant at the golf course. Do not forget, said the manager, in a very important voice, this is an undeniably, extraordinary, impressively fancy restaurant. The service must be impeccably perfect. And what did Miss Giggles do when she heard these words? She giggled, of course. Her first customer was Mr. Grumble. Ah, at last, grumbled Mr. Grumble when Miss Giggles came to his order. And of course, as usual, she couldn't keep a straight face. It was the same when she brought him his food. She just couldn't help giggling. Mr. Grumble was not at all pleased. What do you find so very funny? He asked crossly. Are you giggling at me? I must speak to the manager right away. Miss Giggles, said the manager importantly, Mr. Grumble is one of our most difficult customers. Therefore, please do not giggle in front of him. But I'm not giggling at him, explained Miss Giggles. I'm just giggling because I'm so very happy and such a big giggler. Let me give you a different job, said the manager. Please take these drinks out to the golfers, and do try to be seriously serious and sensible. Miss Giggles promised to do her best. Do you think she'll be able to be seriously serious and sensible? Mr. Uppity had hit a very good ball. That is to say, he had hit a normal golf ball very well. The ball was right next to the hole. Oh, good shot, Mr. Uppity, said Mr. Happy. Not bad, I agree, said Mr. Uppity. But I know I can do better. On my next shot, the ball will go straight in the hole. But his next shot did not go well. He missed. And at that moment Miss Giggles arrived with the drinks, happily giggling to herself. I must speak to the manager. At once, cried Mr. Uppity. And no sooner he had spoken than the manager arrived. This young person has made me look ridiculous in front of my friends, said Mr. Uppity rudely. In fact, it is entirely her fault that I have lost the game. Please accept our most serious and sincere apologies, said the manager. Once again, I can assure you that it won't happen again. And that was why Miss Giggles was sent to work in the golf club shop. And in the shop, Miss Splendid and Miss Bossy were trying on some truly ridiculous hats. I don't need to tell you what Miss Giggles did next. We must find the manager at once, shouted Miss Bossy, bossily, dragging Miss Splendid away with her. My face just turned red then. Hope you like that. I'm tremendously, terribly sorry, explained the manager, but I am undeniably unable to let you work here anymore. No, but I am undeniably unable to let you work here any longer. But even with this bad news, Miss Giggles couldn't stop giggling. Do you think she'll be able to find another job? On her way home, Miss Giggles walked past the nursery. She could hear the babies weren't giggling. They were crying, sobbing, and bawling. What a terrible noise! The poor lady who was in charge of all those crying babies wasn't giggling either. She was wondering how she could cheer them all up. Miss Giggles walked into the nursery, giggled at the babies, and as if by magic, they stopped crying. In fact, they started to smile, laugh, and giggle back at Miss Giggles. This time, Miss Giggles had found the perfect job, and ever since then, Miss Giggles is happier than ever when she wakes up in the morning. At last, she has found a job where the giggliest giggles aren't always their own. Now, I might have read this story before, but if I have, I'm a bit of a meanie. Time for story 3.